Namaskar everyone and Shubh Holi. Welcome to a different version of the Hindu Prachar Kendra's Phagwa festival. Today we are not following the regular satsang routine because we are presenting session 2 of the Kendra's Phagwa Festival 2021. We hope you had a blessed week, which started with Holika Dahan last Sunday. It was the full moon, the Punwasi. It was a very rainy day. And of course, last Monday was the actual day of Phagwa, so it would have given us a good start to our week. This year, grand celebrations were not possible because of the current COVID-19 pandemic, and the special event we had planned for Kendra Phagwa Festival's 30th anniversary last Sunday evening, it had to be cancelled because of the spike in cases and the further precautions we must all take. Just to remind you that we had planned a silent walk of solidarity in collaboration with several other Hindu organizations, with everyone dressed in white clothing, with one drop of a beer to represent every drop of blood of the victims of domestic violence and so many other heinous crimes. This would have culminated with an inspirational program at the Diwali Nagar. When the decision was made to cancel, we decided that we can still put together a virtual presentation of what we were planning to do for that program. So here we are. We are not able to do the walk, but we are doing the necessary talk and singing the pichakaris to express our collective concern about what has been unfolding in our beloved country over the last few weeks. It is very frightening and very troubling, and as a woman, it is even more so. Before I explain our rationale for a silent walk for Phagwa, which is a vivacious and boisterous occasion full of festivity, let me just give you an idea of what to expect in this morning's adapted satsang. After my perspective, we will have pichakaris, and this will be followed by a feature message from Puja Swami Prakashananda, spiritual head of Chinmaya Mission, Trinidad and Tobago. Swamiji's message is an amalgam of the concerns, observations, and ideas submitted by the groups who would have been involved in this silent walk of solidarity. We all thank Puja Swamiji for accepting our submissions and his willingness to be our voice this morning. An endorsement by the participating groups will follow Swamiji's message, and we'll close Kendra Phagwa Festival 2021 with a chautal which celebrates the child hero Prahalad. It was composed by Raviji, and it is most fitting for us to close with it because it is the child hero of Phagwa, Prahalad, who has inspired our voice and venture. I am not getting into the Phagwa Katha, neither will Swamiji. You can refer to last week's satsang if you are not familiar with the Katha, and we also had ularas and chautals which you can enjoy if you look back, because last week was the festive aspect. This week it's a lot more serious stuff with pichakari power through social commentary and conscious lyrics, and all of this is well in keeping with Phagwa, which is not just a bhakti commentary, but a mind-blowing social and political commentary. I quote from a 1998 Pichakari: "When power in man head, he do care who dead." This was indeed the case with Maharaj Hiranyakashipu, who was so intoxicated with power that he became a tyrant. Just to remind you, in the Phagwa Katha, his failings as a husband, a father, a brother, and a ruler are very evident. This is why Prahlad's voice is so important and relevant to our present scenario in Trinidad and Tobago. Prahlad's voice was the voice of resistance. Prahlad's voice was the voice of courage. Prahlad's voice was the voice of change. And Prahlad's voice was the voice of a higher purpose. The Phagwa Katha this year, therefore, for us in TNT, is more relevant than ever, and a fitting reminder to become the voice of Prahlad and to stand up to the tyranny of oppression. We must not forget Prahlad was a target of malicious, selfish, and criminal intent. And we have seen, and we continue to see on a daily basis, this same issue with so many women and children. We cannot be bystanders like the citizens in the kingdom of Maharaj Hiranyakashipu. This is why when we were asked, what is the Kendra's response? Why are we all keeping silent? Where is the Hindu response? The Kendra had indicated our response will come for Phagwa, which is the ideal platform for us to explore and comment, as we have been doing for 30 years now. So our response to all that has been going on is via Swamiji's message and this program of Pichakaris that we have put together this morning. Following my talk, whatever we are presenting, it is rooted in genuine concern for everyone. Our Hindu civilization and heritage mandates well-being of all to secure one's own well-being. We belong to an all-inclusive tradition, and Phagwa presents this to us in a very visual way through the Phagwa play, or Holi Hai as we say. We see every color has a place. Every color is beautiful, and it makes the rainbow, much like our cosmopolitan nation. So our concerns cannot be myopic or selfish. Of course, our immediate concern is the plight of women and children at the hands of hooligans or gundas, as we say. And we join in solidarity with the national outcry through this program. We have also prepared appropriate bumper stickers. So if you are interested in one of these, you can message us. The numbers are on the screen. And what is said in this bumper sticker from Manusmriti, Yatra Naryastu Pujyante Ramante Tatra Devataha, where women are honored, cherished, and respected, it is there that the devatas dance and rejoice. It's an important reflection for all of us. So this is as much as I will say, because we look forward to Swamiji's address and recommendations for the way forward. We will have 3 Pichakari presentations now. The first one is actually from the year 2006, and it's called the Shakti of the Fire. It is actually not focused on women alone. In each one of us, there is a Shakti, a beautiful energy. And how we utilize that is addressed in the song, because it can bring destruction to all of us, whether we are man, woman, male, female, child, young or old. This first presentation asks all of us to reflect on our own sense of personal responsibility through kathas that are familiar. So listen to the verses very carefully. And then we will have 2 new Pichakari offerings for this year that directly address the issues of domestic violence and other crimes. I know we have many international viewers, so just very quickly, Pichakaris are local compositions with Hindi words and phrases. And these songs draw from our experiences to bravely and consciously express our concerns, emotions, history, ideology, and more. Do enjoy, listen, learn, and reflect as we have Pichakari presentations.
Just like Holika, you will suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire. Just like Holika, you will suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. Just like Holika, you would suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire. Just like Holika, you would suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You go end up on a fire and perish to the ground. Holika had the Shakti and protection from Agni. Once she wear the Urhani, fire couldn't harm she. To help she Bhayaji and he misery, she take Prahelaji and put him on Shiguri. By the grace of Bhagavan Vishnu, a powerful wind blew. She ball out Hiranyakashipu, but what he could do. When you're playing with fire, you could end like Holika. When you're playing with fire, you could end like Holika. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. Rakshasi Surbanaka start to choke the fire when she influenced Bhaiya to kidnap Sita Maya. The 10-head king of Lanka start to abuse his power. To gain the love of Sita, he sacrificed his beta. By the help of Vibhishan, Prabhu Rama conquered Ravan. Hear the cries of Mandurari echo through Lanka city. Though Ravan was so strong, the fire burned him to the ground. Though Ravan was so strong, the fire burned him to the ground. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. Even Pawan Putra, he too played with fire. He tried to swallow Surya, but was struck by Lord Indra. Because his jaw was broken, they call him Hanuman. He crossed the mighty ocean to challenge Ravan. Dekho Mahabir Baba, causing terror in Ashoka. They set his tail on fire. Now he burning down Lanka. For the sake of dharma, you could fight fire with fire. For the sake of dharma, you could fight fire with fire. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. If you cross Lakshman Rekha, prepare to face the fire. When you get caught in Maya, you'll end up in Ashoka. Will we dance in Ayodhya or suffer in Lanka? We can sleep like Kumkaran or choose like Vibhishan. We must never let mantra corrupt we leaders. We have the power, oh bhaiya, to overcome adharma. If you cross the line of fire, you have to face the pressure. If you cross the line of fire, you have to face the pressure. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. If you're playing with fire, be careful you get burned. You could end up on a fire and perish to the ground. Just like Holika, you would suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire. Just like Holika, you would suffer if you play with the Shakti of the fire.
Look what happened to Andrea Bharat. These men, they didn't have a heart. The young lady, she had to suffer from the pain, the torture and the murder. This crime awoke a whole country. The issue became safety for women. In the village, the borough, and the city, people gather this message they must send. They say the violence must end. So it's time to do something about all this killing, the rape, and kidnapping. Too much women dying. The next one that they murder might well be your daughter, your wife, or your sister. So come on, oh my friend, the violence must end. The message we must send is safety for women. When our people can't take it anymore, they just rise up like never before. Look how women now feeling insecure. Andrea Bharat, she was the last straw. Cause the nation was grieving already for women like Ashanti Riley. They both were murdered brutally. All they did was board a taxi. Next thing you know, they find a body. So it's time we do something about all this killing, the rape and kidnapping. Too much women dying. The next one that they murder might well be your daughter, your wife, or your sister. So come on, oh my friend, this violence must end. The message we must send is safety for women. women have bad experience. They face domestic violence. At home, they should live in safety, but sometimes it turns out deadly. But since the birth of humanity, violence was throughout history. We have to reshape the society, and it must start in the family, so women could be treated equally. So it's time we do something to stop all this killing, the rape and kidnapping. Too much women dying. The next one that they murder might well be your daughter, your wife or your sister. So come on, oh my friend, the violence must end. The message we must send is safety for women.
What going on in this country? Somebody explain to we. What will be we destiny? Somebody explain to me. What going on in TNT? Every day on TV, it is so shocking to see criminals on killing spree. Day and night they roaming free. We have to cook inside. How much we go run and hide? Now it's time to take a stand. Uto Chalo make demand to get justice in this island. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to we. What will be we destiny? Somebody explain to we. What going on in TNT? Well, plenty man was done rawan. Lati made repeat woman. Suske in chup chap silent. Oh man beat in more violent. Bahin want to pack and leave, but every time a new reprieve. She life in bahut danger. She afraid to fight that Rakshasa. Don't mind how she will suffer. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to we. What will be we destiny? Somebody explain to we. What going on in TNT? Azamara is not easy. A frightened for beta beti. Azanani more worry for the nati nanati. Bahut pyar we have to them. Good sanskar we giving them. But the gundas waiting to hapke, to rape and snuff their life away. And it getting worse every day. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to we. What will be we destiny? Somebody explain to we. What going on in TNT? Look at those sundar lalki who get murdered recently. It hot Winara and belly. It could be anyone are we. Victims can't get no justice. They sure to hear case dismiss. The law is really gadaha. Criminals laughing, ha ha. while they targeting we bacha. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to we what will be we destiny. Somebody explain to me what going on in TNT. TNT sinking shipwreck. We need every hand on the deck. Massa them on every side. Knock every campsite. We drunk in Chat Patawe while Parliament Pakpakawe. We heading down a deep abyss. We desawa in real crisis. It's we who have to fix all this. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to me what will be we destiny. Somebody explain to me what going on in TNT. What going on in this country? Somebody explain to me what will be we destiny. Somebody explain to we what going on in TNT.
Hari Om, Namaskar, Sitaram to everybody. All participating organizations would like to begin by categorically, unequivocally, and publicly condemning all forms of violence, especially against women, and by extension, against all others in society. Plaintive cries have been emanating from all quarters of society to bring an end to this seemingly intractable scourge. When difficulties arise in a society, like for example, when there's a disease, like our pandemic right now, or when there's any sort of turmoil or things that bring distress to people, the first thing we do is to try to diagnose the source of that distress, or diagnose the source of the symptoms which we are experiencing. In this case, all the violence that is being perpetrated by so many in society, it becomes a little bit more difficult to pinpoint the source of the problem. Sometimes we say, or people say, the government is not doing its duty. The police is not doing its duty. Then the families are not doing their duty. Like this, we say the schools are not doing their duty. On and on we go. So pinpointing the source of the present scourge in the society is not so easy. And usually, it is not one thing which is responsible for a situation. There will be multiple causes. So first and foremost, let us go to the biggest picture, and that is the state. The state is supposed to have a duty to protect people. The state has duties to, like proper legislation and all of those things, to prevent certain things. Well, of course, we know that it doesn't work so well. No amount of legislation and no amount of action on the part of the state and the police is going to resolve this problem. The next unit beneath the state, beneath the nation state, is our families. The families is where even those who legislate are born, are brought up. You see? In fact, the family becomes the social engineering crucible of a society. And when there is a decadence, when there is the erosion of family values and all of that within the family, then what you're going to have is the production of citizens, of individuals who come out fractured. But if family is fractured, the individuals emanating from that society, in that society, from that family, those individuals are going to be fractured. Those individuals are going to be lacking in the basic human values, which in group we call as dharma. Those basic human values we call as dharma. And if this family is broken, the family is fractured, the family is affected in any way, we're going to produce individuals who are like that. The family is corrupt, the individuals who come out in society. And when we say family, we mean here, there are two people in a family, in a nuclear family, that are responsible for producing the future individuals of a society, you see? Now see, we have a particular symptom which we are experiencing on the outside. That is violence, especially against women. And the people who are perpetrating this violence, those people were brought up in families, maybe broken families, perhaps in all likeness, broken families, dysfunctional families, and all that, right? So the general decadence, really, which we are seeing, has its origin in the family. And now it is the family's duty to fix this thing. But there's a internal contradiction there, because the families are themselves products of members of other families. They have two parents in this home, they came from another home. And there it was fractured, there it was broken. So these people who are lacking in values, lacking in basic dharma, what are they going to produce as their offsprings for future society? So the problem is in the family, and the families themselves have sunk into this depth of decadence. Now, beneath the family, or even more basic to the family, is what we call as individuals. It is individuals who make up families. The family is a crucible for producing society, and the family itself is now broken, and we are producing this type of society. How are we going to fix the family? Families are made up of individuals, and therefore it behoves every single individual in this nation to make a personal resolve to now study, understand the basic human values, which we call as dharma, study and understand those basic human values, and to take a personal resolve to live up to these basic and fundamental values. Even if my family may have been doing something else, myself as an individual I have to take this resolve. I have to internalize this and take this as my personal mission. If this is not done, the family will not be fixed. And if the family is not fixed, the society will not be fixed. Looking towards governments and police and bigger organizations and all of these to fix this is not going to happen. Perhaps in the wider society, the only place where we might be able to get groups to prompt individuals is in the spiritual organizations that teach about dharma, that teach about basic human values. But even if organizations like all ours teach this, and the individual does not take a personal resolve, this is not going to change. The onus remains on our shoulders individually. I cannot demand a certain type of society outside there that is free from violence, that is free from corruption, that is free from all the negative things which we don't like. I cannot demand that type of society when I myself am not a positive contributor to the type of society which I demand. That is, we call that as hypocrisy. So that means what? I have to take up the responsibility of making sure that I am a living example and a living member of a society which I want to see. I mean, I myself should be free from corruption. I myself should be totally free from all forms of violence towards everybody. I remember a very wonderful statement Sri Raviji made many, many years ago, I heard. I did not hear recently, but this is 30 years perhaps. He said, even Ravan never raised his hands against Mandodari, his wife. So what? We have become beneath Ravan also now, less than Ravan. And this change in myself can only come from myself, not from any other place. If I make myself a strong individual, one who follows dharma, one who follows all the basic human values, then I'm going to be a positive contributing member to a very solid family. And if that family becomes very solid, the society is going to become very solid. Yes, we say we have downstream things which can be done by state, by government and all of that, right? For example, the government can make policies that make the family, policies that are more conducive to family life and all of that. Still, the onus will be on me. Like, for example, I'll tell you now, just take an example. The family has changed over the few decades, you know that, whereas the mother used to be in the home and the father alone used to be working. The mother used to be taking care of children. Now both parents are working. So what has happened? The government is preserving a sort of a type of economic model, which is called as capitalism. And you all know that, right? Then what happens? Both the parents have now subscribed to that model and both are going out of the house. And we're calling it trying to make ends meet. Really, families have to make. The government is supporting a certain type of economic system. But I still have to make my decision. Am I going to run after all economic status at the expense of family? And that decision is mine, not government's. Am I going to run after an economic status at the expense of my family? I'm not bringing children up properly and all of that, not taking time to study dharma and engage in satsang and seva and all the other things, and infusing these things in children. So am I going to run after that economic status at the expense of the family? Or am I going to settle with less, with a very normal, ordinary life, but pay attention to the values and the time that the family needs? You see? That is a personal decision for every family. Yes, government will preserve it, or government may have down the road there, let's say, women are being battered in the home. So they will create a home over there, but that doesn't solve the problem. A home for battered women. It doesn't solve it. Government can only do those things. The onus always comes back to all of us. Now, I said, in that family, the basic core values have to be preserved. Human values, we call it as dharma. In this system of values which we all have, there has been, and just for an example, I will tell you, one very core value, and this is given by the rishis for all peoples of all times. And this is the mother in the home, the woman in the home was given the status of a Devi, Jagadamba Devi. Now that has been eroded because of so many things going on in the society. So the family has to now reflect on itself. Are we going to reinstate the mother on that pedestal of a Devi? Because that is what is required today in society. If that is not, because that has been eroded, that is why we are in this situation in which we are. So now, are we going to take a personal resolve individually to reinstate mother on that pedestal? If we don't, this intractable problem is not going to go away, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Sakale nehamata yogo nashta parantapa. The great expanse of time causes things to have a natural decadence, and to prop it up, to bring it up, to revive it requires personal intervention from every one of us. You see? So if this is not taken up personally by every one of us to understand this is the body of dharma, which teaches values to all of us, and I am going to take a personal resolve to protect that dharma, starting with putting my mother and the women in my family on a pedestal of a Devi. If we don't take that personal resolve, this is not going to go away. Huh? You may come up with so many things on the outside, and you work with modern society today. For example, so we have to look at heroes on the outside, for instance, right? Modern heroes. And you say, okay, I'm going to emulate this hero. It is all well and good. If there is no understanding of the basic and fundamental values, which we call as dharma, if there is no understanding of that, what happens? I become a fanatic of a hero. That is all. A fanatic of a hero. And fanaticism does not bring real fundamental change in a human being. That is why our shastras are very, very important to all of us. We study the shastras, we understand these basic human values, and we emulate those values in our life. That is the only way change is going to come. Okay. Now, I'm leaving this talk, but I'm leaving this talk with one line. The onus is on every single individual to bring about this change. I do not deny that other extraneous units and bodies and organizations and institutions may be able to support in all of this, but the onus is on each one of us. Okay, Hari Om.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
The Hindu Students' Council endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message. We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
We endorse this message.
हिरण्यकशिपु के बेटा प्रहलाद कुमार
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 प्रहलाद कुमार प्रहलाद कुमार प्रहलाद कुमार
प्रहलाद कुमार प्रहलाद कुमार प्रहलाद कुमार
We hope you have enjoyed our offerings this morning. Like I said at the beginning, an adapted version of satsang, very different, very serious. Of course, next week we start to focus on Devi because the Navratri, the Vasant Navratri, is fast approaching. So our satsang will go back to the usual routine. Before closing, on behalf of the Kendra Phagwa Festival, I would like to thank all those who have come together in this effort. First, we would like to thank Puja Swamiji for receiving our submissions and for being our voice this morning to put together all our concerns. We'd like to thank Rana Ji and Ajnish Ji for musical guidance and accompaniment, and our two Pichikari singers, Nisha Ji and Mukesh Ji. And we thank all the groups who have come together to endorse and to express support for the intention of this program. And of course, all of you, our viewers who share such valuable comments week after week, we'd love to hear how you feel about what you have listened to this morning, because we know for many of you it might be the first time you are hearing this aspect of Phagwa. So have a safe, blessed, and productive week, and we'll see you all again on Sunday morning for satsang. Namaskar.